Welcome to Evolve, Reinventing Leadership, Building Freedom Cultures, with CEO and award-winning author, Yvette Bethel. This podcast is dedicated to providing leaders with solutions to build trust, inspire authentic transformation, and improve engagement. Learn about new and tested ways you can revitalize your culture, empower people, and transform your results.
This is Yvette Bethel, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to Evolve. Evolve challenges traditional leadership topics, explores modern leadership models, providing ideas you can use to transform your culture. We focus on leadership through the lens of three natural laws that operate within all organizational ecosystems: interconnectivity, flow, and balance. In other words, IFB. We call it IFB, and this is one part of a series of 7 episodes designed to introduce you to IFB and trust based on my thought leadership work. Now, with us, we have Giuliano Bottelli, who is the founder and CEO of Dual Communication, a 6 Seconds preferred partner in Milano and Sicily, Italy. Giuliano also operates a family farm where they produce salami to sustain gourmet salami. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is. Thank you.
To sustain Italian traditions. And he facilitates educational projects for families that involve support for primary and secondary schools, a sports center, and a modern music academy. Then we have Feliziano, aka Felix, Crisafulli, who is a partner and senior consultant at Dual Communication. He has a distinguished career within leading multinational companies in Italy and internationally, with extensive experience in all marketing areas. So welcome to you both, and as advanced trust facilitators with multiple emotional intelligence certifications, my guests partner with my company to create and sell a line of products and services that support organizations with building trust and transforming organizations while holding safe space for those involved. So hello, Giuliano and Felix. Welcome again to Evolve.
Hi, Yvette.
Hi, Yvette. Thank you.
Thank you for this introduction.
Yeah.
Too much.
I have a problem with that. I like to say it all. So today we're going to focus on what is IFB. And your company has participated in IFB, and you've implemented a lot of the model, not all of it yet, but you are, on the cutting edge. You're already experiencing exciting transformation. And before we go into that, just say a few words about Dual and what you do.
Yeah, okay. Thank you again. Well, if I have to talk about Dual, we can say that we are a marketing and communication agency. We have more than 20 years of history. And, but we are defined by the last 6 or 7 years when we started work with emotional intelligence, and when we decided that all the activities and mindsets that stay behind and with the emotional intelligence can be the center of our development and of our positioning. Yeah, this doesn't mean that we just work only on emotional intelligence, but that we make a strong effort and a daily workout to change ourselves, to evolve, and to give the taste of a different approach to all the people that work with us. I mean, all the stakeholders, customers, suppliers, of course, all the employees. And we've seen that this really create a great change journey that we have done in these years. And I can, and I have to thank Felix for this, because he is the virus inside the company that introduced this all this world, introduced us to all this world, and so I will never be enough thankful to him for this.
Can we say maybe that it was so interesting to explore and understand how crucial is emotional intelligence for effective communication? In this year, we really work a lot around this concept, and we saw the effect of emotional intelligence in all the different dimensions of communication, from branded communication to personal branding, internal communication, communication amongst team and inside teams. And we realized how injecting this awareness about emotional intelligence makes really the difference in the way people work and the way people really get things done. I think has been a great discovery in these years.
Yeah, and starting from that, what happened was that we started working on us, and then we discovered that we were able to create the original model to help our customers and to be, how can I say, the main character in the market for all these models. And we create connection between different approaches, and one of the most interesting was the work we've done with you, Yvette, starting from the pillar of trust on one side and the IFB model on the other.
From your perspective, why did you embark on this journey with the pillar of trust and IFB after investing so much time in emotional intelligence?
Well, let me start with a little history. I think it was 2018, more or less. We were in Sicily, and we had a meeting, a board meeting. It was a retreat of 2 or 3 days. It was a strategic meeting, and we wanted to rebuild our strategy and our company. We were in the perfect situation. 6 persons in a nice place, just focus on one objective. People who were already connected and well connected. But I felt frustrated after the first day. I felt that something was going wrong, even if it seems that everything was going in the right way.
Right, that's right.
I said, well, what's happening? Why? And in that moment, that ache somehow was an aha moment. I say, no, you can't go on working in this way, because we were really connected, but there was no flow, not enough flow inside, and no balance. And this was the reason why we were not reaching our goals. This is something that I can say now after a long period of work, but I think that this was the starting point, the moment when we decide together to change our approach.
Yeah, I think it was a great starting moment. I think, and then we saw this model, and we realized that actually there were a lot of important tools to work on all the stuff that we realized were missing or not okay for us. So a lot of reflections on the culture, a lot of reflection on the way we were progressing, making things flow in the company. And we were doing it in a, if you want, normal, instinctive way, and having the possibility through the model to really reflect, have awareness of what we were doing, was something that we said, yeah, we have to try. This is a very, very what we need in this moment, really. That was our starting point.
But going on this this story, there is a second changing moment that was after the masterclass in Mexico, when we met and we start working on the model, and was the long COVID nights. While during those nights we had 2 hours meetings every week for a long period, and this was an incredible gift, because we, me, you, Felix, and Alessandro, that is the other partner of the agency, we started that to open to the flow and not only to reinforce the connection. I realized the mistake I was doing, to be only focused on the connection and never on the flow, because I thought that was the same thing. I thought that if I'm connected, then there is a flow. No, it's not true. I can be perfectly connected, but there is no exchange. Maybe there is only one flow, one direction, and maybe not. And in that moment, it starts something magic, that is the listening, the deep listening between our 3 partners.
Yeah, I agree with you also, because sometimes, and probably that was the case, even too much connection doesn't help, because this strong connection that we had was kind of letting things always unflow in the same way, was not possible to change. And we had also some confrontation. We had also some disconnection before reconnecting. And that was crucial, because we saw really a change of behavior. And I think, for example, Giuliano, you as a leader really started to change in the first place, to do different things and differently. And things started to flow in that moment.
Yeah.
Because of this awareness, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll share after you share on this, but from your perspective, after implementing the principles of interconnectivity, flow, and balance, what is your perspective of what it means? Because it does have a foundation in trust.
I mean, I think that for us, IFB is really a simple approach to read and to understand and to change the complexity. And this can happen in the complexity of an organization, of an ecosystem, or in a family, wherever. This simplicity, it's really the key factor of its effectiveness. And this is something that I've experienced during our journey, but also, for example, during the journey of our partnership with you. I mean, we start a connection, then we put something in the flow, but we find the right way to be a really partner when we have the balance. And the balance was not only the fact that we were exchanging services each other in a balanced way, let me say. We never measured the number of hours that you gave us or that we gave you. I mean, it was not the point. The point was that we reached the balance in the moment when we start dreaming together, when we start designing our project together. And this was really a moment when I understood what does it mean balance in that moment, because at the beginning I had a quantitative how can I say awareness of what balance may mean. Instead, it is something deeper. It is something about how we live together, a connection. And that was really what happens, for example, between us.
I think the connection naturally birthed something that we didn't have an attachment to in the beginning. We were looking to find balance, and in that journey, it births something.
And yeah, absolutely. And I also something that really in this process, I really changed perspective around the trust concept, because before knowing the pillar of trust, I always thought to trust as like in the area of a sense, a faith, or if you want some willpower led approach, very you need to trust, etc., etc. And trust is good, of course, is good. But what I really understood with working with you is that it's more like something you have to work on. It's something you have to think about and regulate, in a sense. It's like having, if in a fast car, you have the spoiler, and the spoiler decides how much the car will stick to the floor, and you can go faster or slower.
Right,
it's a bit like this. You have to regulate and understand what is the level of trust you need and how to get there. So it's a very important ingredient. Otherwise, everything doesn't work well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and on the other hand, you were asking also about the pillar of trust. Well, the pillar of trust, from my perspective, is a way that helped me to better understand this concept of the spoiler, and to accept, first of all, that there are different levels of trust also on myself. First of all, the first level is if I have trust willingness and trustworthiness towards myself. That was the first level, and then of course with others, and this helps us to manage this great accelerator that is trust, and a fluidificator. I don't know how can I express, but this is something that, I mean, a concrete example of what trust means is that of course everyone can hear and see how I'm not confident with English, but the fact that you trust me and the fact that I trust myself to be able to convey my message, even with my poor language, that's enough, and that's helped me to be better, and that's how trust can enhance our competencies.
What poor language?
Yeah, thank you. I want to hear this.
I'm so glad that you took a different approach to it than I will now. when I created the book, Interconnectivity, Flow, and Balance, what it was based on is that I view organizations as ecosystems. And all ecosystems are alive and they operate, whether you are conscious about it or not, they operate according to natural laws, all of them. Interconnectivity, flow, and balance are only three of them. But these are the ones that I chose to work with in just revitalizing how we see and the lens that we see businesses through. And you're so spot on that a lot of organizations focus on connectivity, and they don't even always focus on how the connection works. Sometimes the connectivity, I have some clients where the connectivity is all based on loyalty. And because no one really trusts each other, it's all loyalty. You have a lot of aberrations, a lot of, kind of dysfunction that happens in there. So there's so many ways that the organization, which is an organism, it finds its own balance. And when things don't flow properly, the balance will operate in one way because it finds that homeostasis all of the time. Now, as a leader, either you can understand how it's balancing and really participate in that and have a vision for that, or you can just let it balance itself. And an example of that would be where you bring in a new executive and they have a whole different view of culture, and where they came from is very different. And then they have a powerful presence and they start to influence the culture and change it into something that wasn't the original intent. And it's balancing and rebalancing and allowing that person's strength to manifest within the culture. So being deliberate about understanding these three natural laws that you can harness, and regardless if your company is dysfunctional or functional, these natural laws, because they're natural laws, they are operating. Now, I added the pillar of trust to the model because a lot of organizations and the studies that I've conducted internationally through the psychometric that I created, it shows that people don't work together. They don't trust each other. They're programmed to think, I have these goals for myself, and I need to achieve them. And so they are not attuned to how they're always attuned. Maybe they are sometimes, but they're not as attuned as they should be to how they're impacting the people around them. So, and when you have loyalty in the mix and a highly political environment, then trust is really necessary, because as Giuliano so rightly pointed out, trust is an accelerator. But in addition to that, it deepens connections, and it also brings out creativity, because people are not afraid to make a mistake. They're not afraid to say something that may seem stupid. So the model is always in motion. This is a dynamic model. It's not like a lot of models are dynamic, but this is constantly in motion in multiple ways. And so you have to decide, well, what am I going to balance? What's important? Because so many things are balancing themselves within your organization. You need to focus on what's important and what's impacting culture. So that's a big nutshell about the model. But whether you're aware of it or not, it is operating. And I think that's the big take home from that.
Yeah, maybe I anticipate a question, but one effect that I can clearly see is this about creativity. So working during these last 2 years on trust, directly and not, help people to be more creative. Just because of the fact that you have said, we try to change the culture that we don't need to be perfect. Moreover, we can be vulnerable, and we make mistakes, and that's normal. And we said during some meetings that we can honor our mistakes. And this changed mindset. And I've seen people who was pleased to give their opinion, their contribution to any moment. I mean, not only the creative brainstorming, but also when we need to manage a new problem, or we want to do something and we ask an opinion. Well, there is a change of mindset and a joyful in raising the hands and say, well, I think this, I can do that. This, I connect this to the work we have done on trust competencies. I don't want to say that it's magic. It's a gym. It's a hard gym. And it helps, and it's a great fuel to the quality of relations. And about creativity, of course, in marketing and communication, it's something really important. And I've seen how also the not only the top level, but everyone feel more free to add their contribute.
I agree, and I think we saw this on creativity, but also in efficiency, because less and less I see people, as they say, looking at the rear mirror. So always trying to refix or reinterpret what happened because somebody blamed because there was a mistake or something in delay, etc., etc. And a lot of effort was really produced in reinventing reality or looking at the past and not projecting effort into solution in the future. And now this is changing. So we saw more efficient people. We are doing more things, also more variety of things. And trust is really crucial. It's a crucial engine of this change for me.
From your perspective, what makes the IFB model different than others?
Well, in my experience, not only from my perspective, because it's something that I've lived on my skin, it is really something that open and start a new journey. What I really like of this approach, and this is why then we built something on it, is that we are not trying to give a solution. We start looking for it, and this is something that create, of course, a longer project, because you don't have the solution. If you do this, then you will achieve this objective. But on the other side, really create a deep change inside the culture, inside all the ecosystem. Of course, to change, to transform an ecosystem, you need a long time. But it's something that I trust more, because we are the ones that make this change. So I don't have to trust a model that gives me 5 steps to be a better leader, 5 steps to be a more effective company, and so on. First of all, and this is also about the pillar of trust, these models are a way to start deep conversation that change your ecosystem, the ecosystem you are living in. And I think that this is quite different. This is why I joined it, and we decided to make this model part of our lives.
I agree. I would have said exactly the same thing. In a sense, we have a lot of solution and models around that promise to be quick fix. No, do these 3 steps and you solve your problem. But reality is much more complicated, and usually 3 steps are not enough. And this model basically is different because is sincere. The message is you have to work hard. There are a lot of things to look at, and but if you work hard in this direction, you will see progress. No? And I think is the power of this model. Really is anchored to reality and makes no promise. I would say it's not a quick fix, but as far as you enter and as you work on it, you really see change happening. So it's very powerful.
You know, Giuliano, you said something really powerful. You don't walk into this with a solution up front. And that was intentional in the design, because there needs to, you don't have the consciousness or the way you think in the beginning cannot make a change. I think it was Einstein that said you can't change a problem with the same consciousness that created it. And so what this process does is it helps the leadership team to start to shift their conditioning about what they think their organization is, what they think the problems are, how they are contributing, and on and on. And so as that begins to shift, then a solution can emerge. And that's the way it's designed, because the originating consciousness level about what this organization is not necessarily the one that can solve it.
It's actually true that our consciousness now is completely different from the consciousness at the beginning of the process. We see, we have a really different picture.
Or awareness, or however you want to phrase it, but it's different, and that's what helps the solution to emerge, you know. Now, you started implementing IFB and the Pillar of Trust. You started with the Pillar of Trust because that's always the foundation of this model. And then we went into the whole organism and functioning of that. But you started back in 2020, so it's been we're in the 3rd year. And could you say a little bit about the process that you underwent? Because you did say that as we went through the process together, you started to see the changes, the transformation. It's more transformational, really. It's deep, and you started to see them as you progressed. So say a little bit about that.
So we went through different phases. I think the first phase was to create and reinforce the flow in the director committee. So we reinforced the communication flow. We reinforced the sharing of tools. So we created a shared vision, and we built together a vision for the company, for the future. And we started really to very clearly specify with them the importance of trust and the importance of trust dimension in our relationship, even in very normal situations. But for us, it was very clear and adamant the need to specify what was the consequence in terms of trust. So it was really an equation in our mind that was very clear, and we put at the center of the conversation. Then we started to work on two dimensions. The first was to create all the necessary artifacts that were missing or out of date, starting from the organizational charts, from the job description, the evaluation process for the people, the calibration process. So we started really to create models to create the right level of flow in this trust context. And then we were ready to invest in a training process for all our people on the pillar of trust. So we started really to create a language, and we started to make possible for people to understand themselves what were these pillars and how they could affect their effectiveness, basically, and their creativity, as we were saying before. And then we reinforced this process with internal communication, very even simple thing. I mean, like having poster on the wall communicating the key messages that we wanted to begin to be common language. We want to create common language for the people and not to be in an ivory tower just speaking ourselves about trust. And then we continue to reinforce this with internal communication. We try to have a daily meeting where we can continue to repeat this message, create new one, and trust is always at the center of our communication, and we refresh this important topic with our people regularly, because it's really now it's I would say is a beacon for our evaluation process as well. Now the capability to create a trust dimension in the companies is very important.
Yeah, I like to underline something again. It seems a great process, but the change happens in some small seeds and removing and changing little toxic styles. Or becoming aware of the shadows of our styles. And because I remind you were talking about the board and all the works we have done. Yeah, of course, we have created the organizational chart and all these things, but the most important work that we have done, for example, was to help each other and the trust inside the team, changing the way we talk, changing the way we sometimes impose our ideas, or where we use cynicism, sarcasm, or other masks, and so on. So this was the biggest effort, maybe. Now we have all these artifacts. They are nice, they are helpful, but we arrived there changing those small things that were the biggest obstacle to change. This is something I have clear in mind now.
Yeah, and on top of that, I think one concrete change that we have operated is that now we don't let things go. Now, if something negative happens, we, as a board, we think about it. What are the consequences for the climate? and we do something about it, because we know that everything positive or negative that happens as a consequence. And I know sometimes it's just easy and comfortable to say, okay, they have just a fight or whatever, I have to work, I have to do my project, etc. But it's an effort that if you don't do it at the moment, you will pay it later. No? Because create imbalance. It will create imbalance, and in the long term, it will create bigger imbalance. No? Because these are like small rocks that create a bigger balance in time.
Yeah, at the end, they are small drop of poisons that can really kill and impact on all the community if you don't detect it and change somehow.
Interesting analogy, but it's so true. These small drops consistently. You need the antidote, right when it comes. That's wonderful. So, a final question, based on your experience with IFB and the Pillar of Trust, what is one thing you want to emphasize for our listeners?
It seems that is a hard work, and it is, but it's also a light and pleasant work. It asks a lot of energy, but it is not something it is an experience that the more you put, the more you gain. So it doesn't take you so much time. After a few efforts, you really get a lot of advantages, instant advantages. So even if you're not buying a fixing solution, you get it, because it's I know there was that story say if you want to make people to save people, don't give them a fish, but make them fishermen. This is the way this experience help us to be more to be better fishermen, and gives a lot of tools. And every time you have a new tool, you get a lot of energy, and you want to try it, and you see that it works. It's okay. And even if you use it in the wrong way, it gives you a lot of energy. So this is so the suggestion is start with short steps, but don't be lazy.
Also, I would like to add that also we have a very easy detector that is this idea of balance. And basically, if you see that there is no balance in your organization, you know that or now or then there will be a problem. And it comes to this now. We always struggle and think about work-life balance, but at the end, if your organization where you put you spend most of your time is unbalanced, will be very difficult to have even a correct work-life balance. So you have to start there.
Right. Wonderful advice. And with that, I'd like to thank you, Giuliano Bottelli and Feliziano Crisafulli, for such an interesting interview. Your insights will certainly help our audience to create healthy cultures for themselves. This has been Yvette Bethel, Giuliano Bottelli, and Feliziano Crisafulli. And we thank you for taking the time to join us on Evolve, Reinventing Leadership, Building Freedom Cultures.
Thanks for listening to Evolve, Reinventing Leadership, Building Freedom Cultures. Join our vibrant network of leaders who are challenging the leadership paradigm in an innovative learning and impact network. Check out our webpage at ifbnetwork.co to learn more about and join our exciting ecosystem of high-performing leaders.